I think most of us was expecting one thing to happen in this episode, and that one thing did. But what about everything else in the episode? Well, I'm John Barry, and in my review of Star Wars Resistance Season 2, Episode 18, The Escape, we'll be talking about that. As figured out, I think most of us were expecting this. Tam would leave the First Order and rejoin the Resistance, or more specifically, the Colossus. And yeah, that happened. There was no doubt about that, I think, in my mind and most minds of other people I watched the reviews of. If you remember the end of my last review for Resistance, you might remember I was talking about the role I thought Rucklin was going to play in Tam's decision to leave. And, well, I gotta say, it's not as big of a role as I thought. By then, first of all, he had no change of heart and was still clearly with the First Order. Even after the First Order decided he was an accomplice with Tam's escape, so he's going to be punished as well. Great, I think Tam kind of wanted the First Order to do that, so Rucklin might have a change of heart. I'm just speculating there, I did get that impression. But I was right about he would be involved in Tam's car action. Because at the start of the episode, the Star Destroyer, I forget the name of it, but it jumps to the system from the previous episodes of A New Home and No Safe Place, and it does an orbital bombardment, along with some other First Order Star Destroyers, resurgent class. But they do bomb that planet from orbital bombardment. Which is something actually we don't get to see a whole lot in Star Wars, despite it being always talked about. Especially in the Legends novels. We just don't get to see it too often visually, which I think is actually kind of interesting. And I'm not talking about super weapon orbital bombardment, so no Death Star, no Siege Dread, I'm just talking about regular Star Destroyers, just to clarify. But they do that, and so Tam and Rucklin are standing at the window watching it, and Tam is, shocked by it, she's taken aback, while Rucklin is like, they got what they deserved. And that's what motivates him, like, yeah, I have to do it now. And then, of course, takes a moment, she goes back to her quarters, and the mouse droid comes in, and then she gets an idea. She reprograms the mouse droid to help her get into Tyranny's office to get the comlink, and then she goes back to her quarters and uses the mouse droid press the comlink to send a coded message to the Colossus using a code that she and Niku had developed to secretly talk about Kaz's, fumblings as a mechanic from the first season. Which I'm thinking we may. I have to rewatch season 1, but I think there was at least one episode when they were doing like things like that to communicate. I gotta rewatch it, but I think there was something. And then, of course, Kaz was like, when Kaz sees this, he's like, what, you had a secret code to talk about me? But, yeah. And speaking of Kaz, we should talk about the Colossus. So, Kaz, Niku, and Nigo are there when Tam's message is received. Niku, of course, decodes it, and Kaz is the one who figures out the part that Tam wants to leave the First Order. Of course, there is the speculation that it could be a trap and all that. And Kaz acknowledges and pretty much he says, I'll just go by myself so we're not putting the rest of the Colossus at risk. And then Inigo decides to go with it. Then they go to talk to Captain Doza about it. Doza's initially, not that on board. No, he doesn't want to risk the Colossus still. Basically, doesn't want to cause any harm to the people. And, well, then, of course, Commander Doza, which is, what's her... Captain Doza's wife, Toro Doza's mother, like, Vanessa, I think, if I'm pronouncing that right, basically talks Captain Doza into not opposing it, basically using him as example. Because if you remember, he was a former Imperial that defected to the Rebel Alliance at some point due to his wife convincing him to do so, and all that. So it's nice to see that, all character development moments are being brought in together. So Yigo, Kaz, and CB take the First Order shuttle that they had stolen at the end of Season 1, and they sneak aboard, or not sneak aboard, they go to Catalan, the planet from season 1 where the Colossus was. And I did like how Tam told them to meet her at Catalan by saying the place where Bebo lives. If you don't remember the episode Bebo, there's a nice another callback to season 1. An episode I think a lot of people did enjoy. And then of course, Nika comments on him missing Bebo at one point, which I really thought was nice. And they go there. And then of course, how does Tam get there? Well, because remember, in the previous episode, she was promoted to Squadron Commander. So she basically says, I'm going to take my squadron on a training mission. And then, because she changes the coordinates on them to go to Castellan. And of course, Rocklin recognizes those coordinates, and basically Tam shuts them up by using first order, follow orders blindly logic. And then, of course, when they get to Castellan and Rocklin sees Kaz there, he's like, orders the other ties to open fire, and Tam's like, disengage, basically. It's all kind of a neat scene, and then, of course, the ties didn't disengage, so Tam shot them down, and that's what I think really helped convince Kaz, actually not Kaz, but Yeager, that it wasn't going to be a trap at all. Because I think that was still in the back of his mind. So, they rescue Tam at that point. And that's not the end of the episode. And then, of course, they drag Rocklin along because I think they needed somehow to cause some more problems. So, someone had to, before they deleted the flight recorder data of the shuttle, somebody had to sneakily look at the data so that the First Order would find out where the Colossus is. And that's what happens. And in fact, they set, Yeager, Tam, and Kaz set the shuttle to self-destruct, and they, of course, CB, Kaz, and Yeager sneak out via the landing gear while Tam and Rocklin go out the main entrance, the main way. And of course, Rocklin's constantly trying to prove his innocence, which is making it worse for him. And I'm not going to talk about every single instance, but that's what he's doing. He's constantly trying to prove his innocence, and Tam basically allows him to do it because she says you're making it worse for yourself. But kind of really doesn't stop him. Probably trying to hopefully get him to see the faults with the First Order. As I said earlier, never happens. And I'm presuming he's dead. No, Tam punches him at one point during her escape, her second escape at that point, and they just leave him there while she has Yeager go to engineering to warn the Colossus about that the First Order knows where the Colossus is. And the Colossus is, and when they actually send that message, all of the residents, or everyone is in Auntie's bar, and so Kaz tells everyone. And then everyone eventually comes up to the decision that they're going to stay and fight. And this brings to a later scene when after they're being captured again. They get captured a lot in the episode known as Escape, I've noticed. But they also escape a lot of times too. So there's that. But on the bridge, Kaz is saying, yeah, we warned the Colossus, it's going to be long gone by the time you get there. And then they jump out of hyperspace and there's a Colossus. But I should say how they got captured. Basically, Captain Fire uses some tactics and basically gets his troopers to fund them down a service corridor where they come out in a hangar where he's able to apprehend them. And they're apprehended. Because CB is smart and stays behind, so she's not captured. And in fact, during the battle, her not being captured is very important because she was able to tap into communication systems and all other systems, and she was able to disable the shields so that the Resistance pilots and the Aces would actually have a chance at taking out the Star Destroyer via the engines constantly hitting them. And guess what happens? After, of course, Kaz, Yeager, Tam, and CB managed to escape. But not before CB is damaged by Captain Pio using the electrocution axes or thingies that we saw in The Last Jedi. But yeah, they end up escaping. It's all good, right? Yeah, actually it is all good. I should talk about Kylo Ren in this episode. We get like a visual appearance of Hux and he doesn't say anything. He just steps out of the Kylo communication and in steps Kylo Ren. I did kind of like that. Like, I'm not saying anything. That's I'm not sure where exactly this is set in the timeline, but the fact that he's not saying anything probably indicates this is probably about the time he starts feeding information to the Resistance, is my guess. Because remember, that does happen in The Rise of Skywalker, where he's so basically anti-Kylo Ren, he's willing to betray the First Order in order to stop Kylo Ren. Man, they in a way have a very bad sibling rivalry. But that's totally off topic from the episode. And there's this one scene where, the first scene with Kylo Ren, where he forces Tuni to draw her blaster and Pyre to draw his blaster and point it at it, and have them point their blasters at each other. Very tense moment. I was actually expecting him to force them to pull the triggers in that moment, and somebody else would have to deal with the Colossus and Kaz and all that. I was honestly expecting that. But at the very end of the episode, Kylo Ren again contacts Tuni, this time on the bridge, and this time it's clear that he's force choking her. So the question is, did Tuni die due to the Star Destroyer blowing up, or due to Kylo Ren force choking her? In all honesty, I don't know. I seriously don't know. It's cut in such a way that we never find out. Unless somehow, she's able to get to an escape pod. But I don't know. But it's sufficient to say that the Colossus doesn't have to worry about the First Order anymore. At least that's the impression that we got. Mainly because the First Order unit that's tasked with tracking them is now gone. But we really should now talk about the ending of the episode, which is basically, not forgive and forget. Maybe a little bit forgive and forget. Definitely some people like me. One in particular that is truly, I would say, forgive and forget is Niku to Tam, where it basically says, we all make mistakes. Some just some more disastrous than others. So basically, we all make mistakes is basically what Niku says, and he basically forgives and forgets. Some people, I think, it's going to be a bit more work to on the, the forgive part, like nearly everyone has gotten down at this point on the Colossus. And I feel like some definitely work on the forget. Like, I think Yeager might still need a bit more work on that. Because, I just don't know, just the way he's like, he's the reserved kind of person who doesn't wear his, emotions on his sleeve. So, what we see could just be him being as cordial as possible. But also there was this one scene where Yeager and Tam started arguing, and Kaz is like, hold on, let's just get away right now, save your arguing for when we're back on the Colossus. So that tells me that even though we don't see it worked out in the episode, that they will be working out their conflicting emotions regarding Tam joining the First Order. And hopefully we'll get some kind of follow-up material about what happens to the Colossus, like a comic or a junior novel, a novel, I don't care. I would like to have some more tie-in materials with the Resistance, because we didn't get too many. And also I want to find out more about Kaz's and Sonora's interactions. And I'm part of the community that I think they would make a nice couple. I gotta be honest. Those are the two characters. That's actually probably the first time I have a legitimate ship in Star Wars that I support. Like, seriously, I have yet to have one where it's not an official ship, where that I've been, like, all in board on. So this is, like, the first true fanship that I'm in on. I might do a video on that someday, but yeah. What else can I say about the episode? I wanted more Sonora in this episode. Speaking of Sonora, I should say, I wanted more Sonora in this episode. Maybe a bit more interactions between her and Kaz. But also, I could tell that she did take a part in the battle against the First Order flying, because one of the pirate ships, obviously, that was cannibalized from at least an old Lambert-class Imperial Shudder and a few other ships, was being piloted. I'm like, Snow was flying that. Who else would be flying that? There's no other pirates left. I was actually kind of wondering, would the pirates show up again, just out of, like, you know, they accidentally stumble across the battle, you know, and still want to get some revenge on the First Order. That's what I was thinking, like, as a real, you know, off possibility that I wasn't counting on, figuring we've seen the end of the pirates, except for Snow, who's a part of the Colossus family now. But yeah, that's actually pretty much it I have for the episodes, because it's a nice long episode. Not too many complaints. In fact, my only complaint is I wish there was a bit more Sonara in the episode, more Sonara and Kaz interactions. There wasn't too many. Most of the character interactions that we got, I felt were good. Felt like, you know, were not in a way messing up with previous character development. Those are still, you know, very much, his character development is still the same from what we've seen previously. No real big backtracking. May seem a bit weird that he was reluctant to send Kaz and Ego out, or allow them to go out to rescue Tam, but it perfectly makes sense, because his priority is protecting the Colossus, and he does, you know, he doesn't want to lose, you know, excellent pilots. He doesn't want the chance of the First Order tracking them. And they may be all, he may be all in on the Resistance now, and letting the Resistance use the Colossus as much as possible, including Jade Squadron as their, you know, base of operations. But he still has to, you know, think of the people of the Colossus too. So it's very much in his character, where he's no longer going to be running from the First Order. He's definitely not going to be, you know, seeking to attract their attention after all. Ego, as I kind of said earlier, you can tell that he still has much to work on with, you know, repairing his relation with Tam, which makes sense. But what gives you hope for that is because he makes this comment to Kaz that Tam reminded him a lot of his brother, which we got to see in a previous episode. And you know what, when he mentioned his brother, who I honestly forgot, would it be neat if his brother, you know, showed up again in the series, like, for the final episode to help out? I would have loved that. That would have been very nice. You know, give his brother give Ego's brother a actual character arc to follow through on. I thought that would have been very nice. We get to learn a bit more about Tam's character from before the season, in fact, which I thought was kind of nice. You know, through Ego, of course, where Ego kind of, you know, Tam just pretty much wants to fly, and like, Ego's brother was always on the move, and she came to the Colossus to race and lost everything, had to sell her ship. Don't know if the ship was a Fireball or another ship, but the main reason why Ego was not giving Tam the Fireball was so that, basically, what's the word I'm looking for here? So that she wouldn't go running off and get herself into trouble or something. Try to, you know, ground her. Which I think actually worked out until the First Order gave her a new opportunity to fly. Now the question is, you know, will she be flying again, or will she stay a mechanic? Because Nico obviously wants to have another skilled mechanic helping around on the Colossus, right? Well, why can't she do both? Kaz does, and he's actually shown in this episode to, like, be really much more competent at everything. Clearly, well, we've seen him become more competent as a mechanic through the second season. It's clear in this episode that he's truly become a competent mechanic. He was always competent at flying, of course. But it's like, this episode, there was no clumsiness from Kaz. And in fact, I'm glad for that. There was that one early episode in season 2 which, oh, so much clumsiness from Kaz, like more than normal. But thankfully, they've toned it down since, and they've used it to show him maturing. I wish there could have been other ways to show him maturing, but I'm glad that he has matured out of his clumsiness across the board. In fact, early in the episode, to give a certain part to Nico, he does a, he kicks it up with his foot, grabs it with his hand, and tosses it to Nico without any hiccups. And like, Kaz from season 1 or even early season 2, yeah, I guarantee you that probably been flying all over the repair bay. I guarantee you that. So nice character development from Kaz. Nico, again, not too much character development, to be honest. But he's gotten some development, but not like some of the other characters. And really among the major characters, probably not as a major, but characters featured a lot, I can say we really got any good character development from that we get to see played out in this episode would be Hype. We saw a lot of his character development in some previous episodes of season 2. But this one kind of cements, like, he's still this boastful person, but it's like he's much more tempered in his boastfulness, and he knows when he's boasting, and, like, and there's actually, during the battle, there's a scene where he basically comments on his own boastfulness in certain ways, like, you know, like, he better hope he was right about how each ace is worth, a dozen resistance, dozen for soda pods. Something like that. As I was him or Griffin made that comment. But speaking of the battle, I want to talk about this. So Eagle's droid Bucket actually was piloting the fireball during the battle. So I thought that was pretty neat. I was like, why not pilot Eagle's ship? You're more familiar with that ship. But the fireball is in the Resistance logo, so I guess that does make some sense. And let's be fair, Cat has got to pilot Eagle's ship, so is it only fair that Eagle's droid gets to pilot the fireball? Your call on that, I just wanted to throw that out, but I think I've talked a good amount about this episode, so there's my review of the episode Escape. If you have any thoughts that you would like to add, the comment section is down below. We can also talk about the episode and the series as a whole over on my Discord or in the comment section down below. But I encourage you to join my Discord server. It's a great place to build a community and to interact with you viewers. So go consider checking it out. Link in the description as I said earlier. Also, if you would like to, consider supporting me on Patreon. $1 a month gets you access to cut content. And when I reach $10 a month on Patreon, I will be starting a Patreon-only podcast. So if you want to get access to that, $1 for you a month or more on Patreon. You can do, if you want to do 100, I won't complain, but you don't have to. You only have to do 1. Higher tiers do give you more rewards though, so something to consider, link in the description. Also feel free to check me out on social media, Facebook and Twitter. As I said earlier, links in the description. Also be sure to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell to stay up to date on future content. I got a whole bunch of content planned. I got a Word document with all my ideas listed out, so I won't be leaving you with nothing. And we got the Clone Wars coming up soon, so stay tuned for my reviews of that. And as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the Force be with you, always.